Hello there, Libra, and welcome to your April forecast. Great to see you again. I always look forward to seeing what kind of energy and inspiration and information is coming through for you this month. This is no exception. I like to start off each month, as you know, with some channeled information. And the way that I arrive at my channeled information is I meditate on each sign before I begin, and I start to do some automatic writing, which allows me to open the channel. As I was channeling for you, this was the message that came through. It's really important for you to find a way to get back to what inspires you. And in addition to that, don't let anyone silence or change your voice or message. So let's go to the first part of this, finding inspiration. So if you are on a path that at one time inspired you, but perhaps now you're not feeling connected to, this often happens in college, in your career, and even after you've finished your career and you're retired, trying to find purpose and inspiration. The one thing that's coming through is it's okay to change your mind. It's also okay to have a change of heart. The other thing that you might want to consider is sometimes you just get lost in sort of like the details and you forget that this used to be fun and you have to find a way to get back to that. And so if you can't, it might be time for a shift in focus, but try first to get back to what motivated you and then just sort of sit with it and think, am I still feeling this, or have I moved past this and am I ready to find new types of inspiration in my life? Just because you let go of one dream or something that once inspired you doesn't mean that you won't be inspired again. So play around with it a little and see what feels right for you. And after you do that, I feel like you're going to have a sense of relief and also focus, which might be lacking at the beginning of the month. The second part of this is also really important. Don't let somebody push you to kind of change your voice or change your view if you're not ready to do that, and also if you know that this is the right way to go. So just stand firm in what is important to you, and I think that you're going to be in a good position to be successful this month. All right, let's now move on to the cards. Before I do that, let me just run through the organization of how I create a reading. I start off with that channeled information, which we just talked about. Then I move on to a Celtic cross, and I expand it to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. So with that being said, let's go ahead and give the cards a nice shuffle. And at this point, I normally remain quiet and just observe the energy of the cards as they come through. Now, before we begin, let's go ahead and take a look at the catalyst. The catalyst is that connective thread that exists between all the cards and also is the initial action or the spark that brings everything into existence this month. And we have the Shaman of Discs card. So in a traditional deck, the Shaman of Discs would be a King of Pentacles. And when I'm looking at this, the main thing that I'm getting is a sense of confidence and a sense of worth. So you would be focusing on self-confidence and self-worth this month, which will, in essence, then lead to you having more opportunities because other people are going to pick up on that. What you believe, what you feel, what you broadcast definitely pulls in opportunities in your life. So the message from the catalyst this month is everything that's happening in the course of these cards, which we're going to look at in a second, is for you to get back on track, will bring you work opportunities, money opportunities, and by the end of the month, should set you up so that you feel much more that kind of like in control of your money and your job, and also just in control of your personal worth. So that's a great message. Let's see how it plays out in the cards. Your center card is the Three of Wands, and it's reversed. One thing that I've seen over many different signs this month is a cycle of about a quarter of a year, so 3 months. So for you, I feel that although you're not getting a lot of feedback at the moment, you notice all the fog, this Three of Wands is telling you to continue to keep the faith. You see something in the distance, it may be beginning to materialize a little bit, but it's too soon and it's probably not even appropriate for everything to come through right now. So I know that there can be a little bit of impatience when this card is reversed, and again, this is one of the few Three of Wands that you can't quite see everything on the horizon, but you get a hint that it's coming. So I want you to take this as an indication that you're headed in the right direction, that you may need to sort of hammer out some of the details or fine-tune your path a little bit, but your overall approach on whatever you're trying to do with your professional life, your career, or with school seems like it's solid, so don't give up. In fact, when we look at the center card, it's crossed by the World, and the World card can be associated with distribution, with travel, with globalization. So if you're an artist, you could be picked up. Your project could be picked up. You could be published. Your work could be distributed somehow, and that's exciting. If you have a product or a project, it could also find its way to a larger audience. This is also about public speaking and outreach. So I feel that the reason that there's a little bit of a delay is so that you can get everything put together, planned out, and ready for this bigger version of whatever it is that you're working on. So just take your time to really suss out the details, get your life in order, and I would say buckle down, because it looks like the latter part of the month and the latter part of the year, for that matter, is going to be busier, and you might start to see some of this begin to materialize. As we look at the deep past and what's affecting you more from a mental state as you're coming into this month, we have the Page of Wands in reverse, which can be a card where you feel that what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're hoping isn't necessarily starting to come to fruition. So there's a need and a desire for you to begin execution this month, and we'll get to that in a moment. But also, I want to remind you that your ideas have value. Just because you're not seeing them have traction immediately doesn't mean that they're not good. It just means that the timing, the divine timing, might be off a little bit. The most important thing is that you continue to develop your ideas and that you don't start to languish or have this sort of stagnation happen. We have the Hierophant card in reverse. This is challenging you, and this is, by the way, in your recent past, this is challenging you to think of new ways to circumvent this issue. Sometimes the most expedient and the quickest way to get something done isn't necessarily to go straight ahead. If you're getting blocked, think about taking an alternative route. So for those of you that are artists, this could mean a different distribution channel. Perhaps you've written something and you were trying to publish it. Maybe you could try to make it into a movie. For those of you that are trying to get a job, perhaps the best way to get in is not necessarily to go through the online job form. It might be because you know someone and they could help get your resume in. Or there may be a different sort of approach that you haven't thought of. So just open your mind up, listen to other people, ask some questions, and absolutely, if you have that network of friends, activate it, because this is a way that you could solve a problem that you don't have the answer to. So, reach out, see if someone else can give you an idea, and then be open to that idea. As we look at your crowning card, it's Justice in reverse. I feel that many of you are at a point where you might be walking away from a relationship or a situation this month. For me, this is almost 90% of the time associated with a breakup or letting go. And so the question is, what do you want to let go of, or what do you want to move on from this month? And if you know off the bat what it is, then embrace that, move past it, and then do your best to make time for what makes sense. We have the Two of Pentacles here, which is showing a little bit of a balancing act between your schedule, your resources, your time, and your energy. So make sure that you're not overextending yourself. And if there's any place where you're just barely getting by, see what you can do to maximize your use of your resources. Again, it can be time, it can be money, it can be energy. But whatever it is, it seems like there's a little bit of a balancing act that you're playing. So try to find what you need to do and what you don't need to do, and let go of those unnecessary things. The other thing that I want to mention with the Justice card in the crowning position is some of you could be finally seeing something resolve. And this might be if you felt that there was an injustice, if there was something that you're deserving, that you've been wronged somehow, you might get a decision coming in this month. Now, if you're deciding to go out and litigate and do something against someone, this isn't the month for that. I think that you could start to prepare your case, but with Justice being in reverse, it's kind of like an uphill battle to start it this month unless there's some sort of a deadline that you have to adhere to. Otherwise, I feel like this is a decision that's coming, or you've made a decision to move past something. But again, if you're trying to seek judgment, wait. I think this isn't the month to bring a court case into existence. Now, as we look at your ego card this month, we have the Knight of Cups in reverse, which is a gentle nudge for you to not let your emotions get the better of you, and not to act impulsively or feel that just because things may not be going your way one day, that's necessarily indicative of a trend. So try to stay as even as possible. And the bright side is that as I look at your environment card, we have Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands is one of the best opportunity cards that you could pull. And the fact that you have Three of Wands in the center and Eight of Wands in your environment bodes very well for you when it comes to opportunities across the board. And it's not just work things. It could be some great things happening in your life, a chance to move, a chance to move in with someone, a chance for, some sort of a great life change to come through. The question is, are you ready, and are you so busy that you're having a hard time sort of discerning the good opportunities from the ones that are just kind of noise? So this month, try to keep your head above water. And the other thing that I'm getting with the Eight of Wands, when I go back to the channeled message that I wrote down, it's don't let someone silence or change your voice. When you have Eight of Wands, it's a busy card. There's a lot going on. The way that you stand out from a crowd is through your singular personality, your singular voice, something that makes you unique and special. When you think of a celebrity, a musician, an artist, public figure, usually there's some sort of attribute, whether it's how they speak, how they look, what they do, their approach, that's either unconventional or trend setting. So I want you to see yourself as a trendsetter this month and an influencer this month, because your desired action card is the Star. She's upright, which means that I do believe you're ready to step into that role of shaking things up, getting people to think, getting people to talk. And the Star card isn't just about, actors and performers. It can be what I'm doing here on YouTube, reaching out, and this publishing card is the same thing, distribution. It can be something like this, where you have a newsletter, or maybe you're involved in politics, or you're trying to change policies at the place that you work, or perhaps in the education system, whatever it is. But this is about taking a stand. And so on some levels, your voice is being heard, your message is being distributed, and you're standing out from the crowd because you're either sort of this galvanizing voice that allows people to kind of get behind you, or you are helping other people see things in a way they haven't before. Because the Star is like the sun, it shines light on things. But I think that there's a really big step up opportunity for you this month if you're willing to take it. And I think you should. It's exciting. The only warning that I have for you is in the outcome. And I've had this in a couple signs, actually. We have the Ten of Swords here. Everything that I've been talking about is helping you avoid this if it were upright. The reversal of this card is actually positive. It's showing me that if you take care of your health, if you don't mute your voice, if you are strong, if you are singular, if you stand up for yourself, then you're going to be okay. You're going to avoid this situation here. But let's just go through what a Ten of Swords can be so that you can recognize the signs and therefore avoid it. A lot of times the Ten of Swords can indicate an argument. Now, it's typically like words that have been spilled that can't be brought back. It's kind of like Humpty Dumpty. When he falls down, he's broken. And when you have a relationship that goes through the Ten of Swords, there's sometimes no turning back. So for those of you that are in some sort of a separation this month, a separation from a job, a loved one, or even an apartment situation, for instance, with the Ten of Swords and the Justice card reversed, you want to navigate this in a way that you feel makes you proud and also is not hurting anybody. So stick to the facts, be fair, and if things start to get to a place where they're heated or they're escalated, then just step back and remember that you're going to be okay with this. We've got the Star card right underneath it. So if you are in the right, or if you have all of the skills to kind of make this work, and that's what Libra can do, is negotiation and diplomacy, then you've got this. So don't let someone push your buttons, and don't let them make you be quiet when in fact you should say something, because that could also be the Ten of Swords, just a sense of regret. There's so many good cards here this month that I'm not that concerned about the outcome, but it's worth noting because it's there. It's reversed, so there's still a potential for that. Now, if for some reason you do have to have a really, kind of like dramatic walking away from something, I like this Ten of Swords because in the distance you see a dawn breaking. And so I feel that the worst is over whenever that happens. and there's really great things ahead of you. You want to focus on the fact that your energy this month is bringing you towards the Three of Wands, is bringing you towards acclaim, is bringing you new opportunities, is bringing you a chance to shine. Those are all great things. The other elements are just things to avoid, not overextending your resources. We'll do another review at the end, although I just did a mini review there, but I think that what's important here this month is that you have something of value. You need to protect that. Part of this is just your unique approach, and if you do that, you're going to be fine. Let's expand the forecast now and take a look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. I like to begin with this mind, body, spirit card, which will help you stay on the path and avoid what you see in the Ten of Swords here. This month, most of my health cards have had to do with spiritual and mental health, and let's see if that's true for your sign as well. All right, we have two cards. I'm going to honor that. The card that flew out was this one. It says, I recognize that I've chosen fear and I choose again. I choose love. So what we see with this fear card is perhaps what could be creating this event. You have a chance to course correct. And by doing this, you can be healthier, you can be happier. And for those of you that are afraid of doing something that's important in your life, since we're in the health card here, this could be about making a change. And the Ten of Swords could be about a habit in your life that's no longer suiting you. Have the desire, the faith, and the will to move towards something healthier. Love yourself, and that's really what this card is about. Loving yourself more than whatever it is that you've been trapped in, and leaning on those that love you to give you the support that you need to make the changes in your health that you want to make. The second card says, the moment that I embrace my peace within and surrender the outcome is the moment that the universe can truly get to work. So if you're going to do something to improve your health, to improve your well-being or your spiritual well-being, surrender is really important. Letting go and thinking, okay, I'm finally ready to just release this and embrace something that's new and that's going to create love and happiness in my life. So love yourself, embrace love over fear, surrender to this new path that's ahead of you, and also let go. This is about releasing and loving yourself. Releasing whatever isn't working, loving yourself, and allowing for something new to come in and to take that place. Let's take a look at your wealth card. For me, wealth can be part of your finance and also your career, but let's just see what the card has to say about wealth. So we have deceit. I want you to be really careful with whom you share your financial information. This is a very good month for you to take a look at passwords, at if you've been working with a financial advisor, you don't like them, it's a good time to change. That's why we have the Justice card here. And also to just be honest with yourself, because the deceit card can also be sometimes we tell ourselves it's okay when we know that there's things that we have to change. So just have a moment where you're honest with yourself, when you're fair with yourself, and you decide to do what's right, whatever that may be with respect to your finances. As we take a look at your love card this month, let's see what's coming through for relationships. We have a solitude card, which is, and I actually see that. There doesn't look like there's a lot coming through with respect to love. It feels like there's a lot of personal growth happening this month. And this card says, in silence, peace prevails. Now, as I look at this card, I'm really reminded of Athena. And Athena is the goddess of knowledge. And I feel like what's coming through this month is a chance for you to educate yourself on what makes you tick. And this is going to help you in respect to relating to your partners, to your friends, to your loved ones. And it says here, in silence, peace prevails. The other piece of this equation is that it's important for you, if you need to have a difficult conversation or if there's something that's bothering you, to sort out your mind and your feelings first. This is really going to help you get into a place where you're not upset when you have that conversation. The other thing here is just to respect peace and quiet in a relationship and in friendships, not to feel that the silence is anything more than the other person taking care of themselves. Assume the best, take your time, allow others to have time and space, and then when the time is appropriate, check in, but don't panic if they don't immediately get back to you. It feels like a lot of folks are just kind of taking this time to decompress and work on themselves. And a lot of the energy this month is really supporting that self-development. Let's take a look now at your destiny card and see what additional information is coming through for kind of your GPS of where you're headed. If you like where you're headed, you can stick with this. And if you don't, then this is a chance for you to really do a course correct. And I'm just going to take right off the top here. We have the Two of Orbs here. It was reversed when I pulled it, but the Two of Orbs is equivalent to Two of Swords in a traditional deck. So with the card reversed, what this is really saying is you have a chance to make a decision. You may not have all of the information necessary to sort of know how this is going to turn out, but you have to trust your intuition. The Three of Wands at the beginning is reminding you of that. With the Two of Swords, you need to pick a path, let the other one go. If you try to hold on to everything, you're going to feel trapped in this decision-making process, and there's too much going on this month to allow that to happen. So let's go ahead now and review everything that we just talked about. We'll begin with the channeled information, which was to remember that it's important to get back to that sense of what inspired you originally. And if you feel like it's time to, go down a new path, get inspired by something else, you're allowed to change your mind, and that's part of that message. The second and most important component, I think, is not to let your voice be silenced or let your view be changed to a point that's so radical that you've lost touch with what it was originally. Remember that you're meant to stand out a little bit. There may be people in your life that don't understand what you're trying to do, whatever it is you're trying to do. So stay true to that and know that eventually that's what's going to make things work for you. Let's go ahead now, and I'm going to turn the camera down and we'll take a look at all of the cards one more time, and then we'll wrap up. Looking at the past, there's a possibility that you've been experiencing a little bit of a slowdown when it comes to the ability to take your thoughts and execute on them. This is reminding you that the most important thing is to continue to ideate and remember that you have a valuable idea. Continue to work with it. Try your best to think of new ways to problem solve. There's more than one way to get something done. Working with friends is going to be key. Finding a way to work around a situation rather than sort of like butting your head against the door is also an important message here. We have Justice in reverse. We also have the Ten of Swords in reverse. You want to try to navigate any sort of conflict carefully. Don't say things that'll hurt you or the other person. Just remember that you want to, above all else, be fair. This month, it's really important for you to balance your resources. You'll find that later that this will help you avoid feeling trapped. So really pick and choose what you want to spend your time on and let go of things that don't really suit you. And remember that this is time, money, and resources. So keep all of those in check. Make sure that your emotions don't get in the way of what I see as a really great growth month here with the Three of Wands, the World, and the Star card. It feels like you're really headed in a nice trajectory. When we tuned into your health, there were a couple of messages. Moving away from fear and embracing love. And the second one was to surrender and realize that the universe has your back, and it's going to really help you get out of that feeling of being stuck. As we take a look at your wealth card, make sure you trust who you're working with. Make sure that you're protecting your assets and locking down things from a security level. Also, just be honest with yourself. If there's something that's not working, take the action that's necessary to fix it. Space is really important in all relationships this month. Spend time with yourself, let your partner do the same, and if you're already alone, take solace in the fact that the energy this month is really supporting finances and career and personal growth, so it's okay. Your outcome card is reminding you that you don't have to feel trapped, that ultimately you know what you need to do to make a decision. Just pick one direction and stick with it, knowing that you've followed your intuition and you've, by default, made the best possible decision in doing so. So I hope that this gave you the insight, the inspiration, and the energy to traverse this month. But if you ever feel like you need more guidance, look below the video. You'll see 3 links. The first one is going to allow you to check my rates and availability, and you can book a session with me if you'd like. If you'd like to just support me on this channel, one way you can do that is to click on the second link, which will take you to my website. And from there, you can either donate or join me on Patreon and donate on a monthly basis. What this does for me is it allows me to have additional money to buy new cards and just pay for the production costs of these monthly videos. However, that is optional and there's no pressure to do so. More importantly, I'd rather you just stay in touch with me. So if you would like to connect with me on social media, please do so. The third link will bring you to all of my social media sites. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I also have a newsletter. And of course, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, I'd encourage you to do so. There are 2 links in the video itself, a subscribe button and also a bell icon. And those 2 items will keep you in touch and let you know when I've posted new videos. Finally, and I would say most importantly, I love to really extend some gratitude at the end of every video. And last month I was talking about how from month to month, I'm getting inspired by the fact that you guys are working on yourselves. I can see that we're creating this chain or this community of light on the planet, and we really need that right now. I want to continue to encourage you to not only do that and support one another, but also grow to the maximum ability that you can so that you can stand tall, almost as a lighthouse. When you think of a stormy time or a dark time, we need as many lighthouses as possible to inspire, to teach, to heal, and to guide other people. So I hope that that's what's happening. In my mind, that's what I see, is this beautiful shore that's illuminated by all of these lighthouses, so that even in the darkness, light prevails. With that thought, I just thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey. Wishing you much love, light, now and always. Take care of yourself.